All right, I'm going to call it quits on the series I've done on this machine. It's close enough, and it's a lot of fun to play with all the things. So what I've learned, though, is between a nice meter like this one, this is the U1733C, the fancy $25,000 machine that I was granted or loaned, this machine, other machines, nobody agrees. So it's really hard to get absolute numbers for these things. You're within, everything's within like 1% probably, but there is a little bit of differences and stuff. So I have gone through and made some secondary standards though. So there's a week-long procedure of calibrating this thing. I mean, it takes a long time. I've adjusted a lot of knobs inside now, and it should be fairly close. Like it wasn't measuring resistance very well. Let's see how it's doing now. It says this one is 9.82 K, and this one says it's 9.84 K. So yeah, I mean, like I said, they're all within like 1% of each other. And so like I've said, I've created a whole bunch of secondary standards. I'll talk about that in a little bit here. Here's one I measured. This is 10.17 or 100.17. 100.17. Let's see what it measures. 100.4. So it's 0.2 nanofarads out. Yeah, I think that's close enough, right? Let's see, what is this one? This one is 15.75. 15 point, it's not making good contact. 15.75 with 15.78. Yeah, so this thing is pretty well calibrated now. One of the things I had to do was create some secondary standards. So as part of the calibration routine of this instrument, you put in known resistances and you turn potentiometers inside. There's 4 ranges, and you adjust those 4 ranges. It's all in the service manual. There's a lengthy procedure of how to calibrate this thing in the service manual. And there's various versions of the service manual from 1981 to 1991, so you can take a look at each one and see what the differences are. I use the 1991, figure it's best. So one of the places you reach is you need 4 resistance standards. And it says, please use Hewlett-Packard number, blah, 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 blah. Well, you don't really need to do that. You just have secondary standards. So, like, I could use this resistor I just used here. I could use it as a secondary standard, right? I could put it in this machine and measure it, and then put it in this machine and measure it, and then adjust the knobs so the two agree. So that's called a secondary standard. You're using the accuracy of this one. Now, your accuracies are going to stack up. So it's not as good as an absolute standard, but it is a secondary standard. All right. And you needed a 1, 10, 100, 1000 picofarad standards. And Hewlett-Packard will sell you those. I think they're about $10,000 to buy those 4 capacitors from Keysight these days. But I've made some secondary standards here. So I made 2 sets of secondary standards for 1, 10, 100, and 1000. So I have these as a secondary and these as a secondary. They're not the exact numbers, like it's 10.306. So when I calibrate, I adjust it to 10.306 instead of 10. So it's no problem at all using secondary standards. So I've measured a whole bunch of things that I now know as secondary standards. And I already had some capacitors that were 0.3%. So I can use those. Plus, I've made a secondary standard out of these. So this is the number measured on the Keysight instrument. So I've labeled all of the stable capacitors I have to use as secondary standards. So anyway, like I beat that into the ground. Let's see, I don't need bias anymore. I need to turn that off in the back. It's set to 0. Even though it says bias here, it's set to 0 in the back. You need to turn a lever in the back to turn that off. One of the things also that's difficult between the different instruments is the frequency range. You know, do you calibrate at 10 kilohertz? Do you calibrate at 1 kilohertz? What do you calibrate to? I decided to calibrate at 10 kilohertz because all three machines, this one, and the Keysight that I had, would all operate at 10 kilohertz. So I set all my secondary standards to 10 kilohertz. Yeah, they're going to be a little bit off maybe at other frequencies, but hey, for the garage, close enough. I also have this machine up here that's quite accurate also that I can use for LCR. I can calibrate off of that. Yeah, it's pretty nice. For 200 bucks, it's a steal. Let's see. I actually like this machine a little bit more than the Keysight for one particular reason. I mean, the Keysight's a much more powerful machine, but the Keysight didn't seem to have an auto function where it automatically said, should you be using series mode or should you be using parallel mode? You had to set those manually. Maybe I was just driving it wrong, but it seems like you had to choose yourself, whereas this one, it'll choose whether you should be doing a series or whether you should be doing a parallel. So when I pop this one in here and it measures it, it says, you're using this, which is parallel mode, right? And then you put in something else. Let me, oops, I just dropped something on the floor. If you put, maybe you put this one in, I don't know what this value is. Okay, it's 10 picofarads. It still says that we should be using parallel mode. And let me put in a bigger capacitor. Let me put in this one. And this one says, you should be using series mode, right? It's around 8 microfarads. Yeah. So anyway, it's a real nice machine. 200 bucks. I've always wanted one. Now I've got one. I have programmed it with HBIB and everything, so it could be useful for certain things like measuring varactors or other things you don't quite know. I really was wrestling with, why do you need so many digits? I can put this into high resolution here, and I can put something back in to measure. And under high resolution, I'm getting 5 digits of resolution. And you might wonder, well, why would you ever need 5 digits of resolution for a capacitor? Well, I think the same question could be asked about, why do you need 6.5 digits of a voltmeter or 7.5 digits of a voltmeter? A lot of times it's not the absolute number, it's the relative number you're interested in. Like you could see this, like if I get near it, it's probably going to go wacko from other things, but if I warm it up, you can see that the capacitance is changing because I've warmed it up. And if I take my fingers off of it, maybe it'll go the other direction. 8, 6, yeah, now it's going the other direction. So for relative measurements, I think it's really good. So again, measuring varactors or measuring the temperature coefficient. You know, if you have a capacitor that's supposed to be COG and it's supposed to have a certain temperature coefficient and everything, you could test it on this. And you're not worried about the absolute number. You're worried about the relative number. So I think that's where that comes in handy. If you want faster measurements, you turn the resolution off. The DC bias offset stuff, that's really, really valuable on this machine as well. But anyway, it's been a fun journey. And thanks to Keysight, I was able to get some secondary standards made. And yeah, it'll end up over here in my other categories over here. I have a couple instruments here. So I have my electrometer, my old YHP bridge, high current power supply that I use for radio testing because my radio test is right here. I have radio test and my VNA and my power meter all over here. So kind of radio stuff is over here. And that's why I have a big 10 amp power supply that I can use on that. And then I have the super high precision stuff that I don't use very often. So that's why it's over here. I'm not going to use these particular instruments very often. So they're off on my bench over to the side.